Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this project, now we are going to start our actual project through which we are going to learn the Spring Boot as well as implement it. So the project scope, I already told you that what we are going to do. So let's create the project. And there are certain things that we are going to use like AWS S3, and we are also going to use a mail service which is not Java Mail Sender, the standard one that we have used in our previous projects, but something new we are going to use which is recent. Okay, so I'll tell you about all those things, but let's first create our project. Okay, so come to your IntelliJ IDEA, and here it is new project. So click on the new project and let me bring my wizard window here. So here you have to, so we are building our backend, which is inspired from like a YouTube. Okay, so let's just name it as YouTube backend. Okay, and YouTube backend here, I will copy paste it here also. You can click on create git repository, so you can save it there, select Java, select Maven, and here you can select YouTube. Okay, we can remove this. Okay, so here we have to select, okay, here it is fine. Java 25, make sure to select Java 25 and jar. So here the settings are fine. Now moving to the next one, select Spring Boot version 4, and from here you have to select Lombok, select Docker because we will be using Postgres with Docker. Okay, so rather than to install a heavy whole Postgres into a system, you can use Docker because the Postgres images are very lightweight and it would be useful. So I'll tell you about that. Just install Docker. It is just, download, click, and next, basically, and it's completed. Okay. So that's these two things from the developer tools. You have to select Lombok and Docker Compose support. Okay. From the web, select Spring Web. Okay. So it is required from here. From the security, you have to select two things. One is Spring Security and one is auth to resource server. Now this resource server is very important thing which will help us in implementing our JWT within the Spring framework. Okay. So as in the upcoming videos, you will be able to understand how we are going to do that. Okay. So select these two dependencies. In SQL, we will use JPA and we will be using PostgreSQL driver. So these two from here, and I think from here select validation. Okay, so that we can use the validation on our client side input that we are getting from the client. Okay, so that is important. And in ops you can use Spring Boot actuator. I will tell the use of it, but select this one also. Okay, so that's all the dependencies we are getting in. Fine, right? Two more we will be adding, which is not present here, but we will be adding from the Maven repository. I'll tell you how. Don't get overwhelmed at so many things in just one project. We will be doing everything step by step. So there is no need to worry about. Just do it how I am telling you to do it. And within the upcoming videos, you will be able to understand all these things. Okay. And then create. So let's wait for the project to get created. By the time my project gets created, let's come to the Maven repository. So in the Maven repository, here is the Java SDK for Amazon S3 service, which we'll use for image and video file upload and download. Okay, storage facility. So before that, what you have to do is two things. First, you have to install your CLI. First, you create your AWS account. Okay, if you don't have, it's completely free of cost, so you can do it. Okay, and if you already have an existing one, it's fine. And you will say that, okay, if we will be using S3, then how much money will it cost? Look, I've been using S3 for for my side projects and all, so hardly it gives me, I have to pay anything. Okay, so in the worst case also, maximum to maximum $1 or $2 bills will come, and that is, I hope so, it is not a big deal for you. So considering that, and that will also not come, the kind of we will be doing, it will be fine. Okay, so the CLI you need to install. So go to the AWS, you can search in Google AWS command line interface, and then you can come to this website, and from here the Windows part will be available. If you are on Linux or you are on Mac, then for here is the instruction for Mac OS and Linux. Okay, so just follow it. I am on Windows. So for Windows people, the first 164-bit hopefully everyone has. So just select it, and then you can just, it is a very simple installer. So nothing much, it will install itself only. You don't need to do much of that. Okay. Now after that, you need to configure your AWS with your secret key and access key. Okay. So how will you do that? So for that, I've actually created a command for you. Okay. Just go to the Google terminal, and just you need to search. I was just searching how can we configure AWS in our local terminal using access key and secret access key. Now it will give you the steps. Okay, just bring this in the AI mode. Okay, you can search this in Google and then bring it in the AI mode. So it will give you everything step by step. Just follow these steps depending on what your operating system you are using. Okay, and you will configure it. It is damn easy, and I have also done using this only. Means there is nothing different I've done that I'm telling you. And after that, I also asked it that tell for Windows 11 and how do we install CLI also. So it told me everything step by step. So you can do it like this, okay? Because I have also done it like this. I'm telling you the same thing, right? So I mean, there is no big deal to do. I go through every step by step and tell you everything into it. It is not a big thing. If you have installed any application on your Windows, it is as easy as to set up all these things. How will you get this access key and secret access key? So it is also simple. You will go to your user, and here you will find the security credentials. Okay, just create a IAM user using your root account. It is also easy. Just use this Google search. Okay, if you have any problem, I will still tell in the next video. Just put in the comment section, but I hope this much you can do, because these are very basic thing. It is nothing that is too technical to do. Okay, so if you are not able to do, you can put in the comment. I'll try to help you in the next video along with that. Okay, so that's all. These two things you need to do. You need to generate. Here is the option of access keys. I already have one, so you can click on create access key. It will give you the access key as well as secret access key. Okay, so you need to just copy paste somewhere permanently in your storage, so that you know where it is, and you can configure using how it is said. You have to go with, after you install AWS CLI, you will then in terminal you can just have to write AWS configure, paste your access key, secret key. Default region should be whatever is closer. So if you are living in US is one. If you are living in India, then it is AP South one, which is my default region, and default format should be JSON. Okay, so these are the basic things that you need to do. Now coming back to the Maven repository, so I'm using this version 2.29.29. Okay, so you can come here and you can just select the dependency here, Control C, and come to IntelliJ IDEA. And okay, so it has completed the process. Now come to pom.xml. Now when you come to the pom.xml, you will see Java 25 is your version. All the dependencies are done. Now here in between, just put this AWS SDK and save the Maven changes. That's it. Okay. Next thing what you have to do is, now we will be using email for various purposes. One of the important thing will be when we are going to register the user. So to verify the account, we will be using this email part. So rather than going to the Gmail and configuring the Gmail servers and all, which I have already explained in the previous videos, previous projects. If you want, I will do it again. But to test all these things in production, or even the dev environment in production, people use these kind of services like Resend. Okay, these are highly cost effective, and but it is free for the individual use. So don't worry, you don't have to pay anything for it. Just create an account in Resend, and once you go to the docs, in the docs you will find API reference. Okay, or no, not API reference actually. In the docs you have to go to integrations. Okay, when you go to the integrations, there is a section on API keys. Okay, you just have to create an API key. It will take you to the API board. So I'll just share if my own is open up. Okay, Resend emails. So as you can see, I already have a API keys, right? So you can go here, you can create your own API keys, and you will get your dashboard like this once you create an account. And these two things you have to do, and then you need a dependency of it. So how will you will get this? So you will get it by come to their main website, go to documentation, and here will be Java Quick Start, and here they will give you the Maven dependency. So just copy this dependency here and below the AWS one I'll be pasting it. So you can paste it here, and that's it. Okay, so these two things are there that you need to do. Okay, perfect. Now let's come to our application and do some settings in the application properties file. Now we will not be using this application properties, rather than we will be using renaming it to YAML file. YAML file is mostly now being used in the industry standard. So I would prefer to you to use YAML. Properties file also, if you use it is fine. Some projects still use properties file, so it's all right. So YAML is a very simple to do. Okay, Spring application name and YouTube backend. Okay, now we have to configure database sources and all those things. So I'll just provide these services what we need to configure. So just come here and put your configuration here. I'm just copy pasting because I already have this. If you don't have, I will share this code on the Git. I will push this code on Git after this recording this video. So by the time you will be getting the video, you will also get this project in the Git repository. So I will share that link also with you. So you can just copy paste this from there. Okay. So you can change it to YouTube DB. Okay. Another thing is to configure JPA. So JPA we need to do then. Okay, there are a lot of things that we need to configure. So all these things are important, right? Now this part is for our database connection. This is for the Hibernate that we are using as an implementation of the JPA specification to update or to create our tables to run the SQL queries for us. So this part we are doing for the security purpose. Now, why this is required, we will discuss this part when we will be doing the authentication implementation. Okay. For now, I will explain you how these keys are coming and where you can get these keys. Okay, and or you can generate these keys. So we will come to that part. Then there is this configuration is for the file size. So what is the maximum file size that a user can upload to the server? Okay. So for those kind of things, then you have to configure the recent also. So recent has to be different. These are independent APIs. Okay, I just need some formatting. Just a minute, I'll do a formatting of it. Okay, so that's all you have to do, right? So this here you have to paste your recent API key, and this is a general. When we will be implementing the email functionality, I'll tell you, but this email is the general email which is provided by the recent documentation only. Okay, this is not something that everyone will have different one. Everyone will have the same one. So I have copy pasted here only. And then you have to configure your buckets and all. So that also we will discuss when we'll come to that section. This pre-sign thing also we will discuss when we'll come to that section. It is related to the AWS S3 thing, right? So for now, you just have to copy paste all these things. You just have to understand this part because we will be dealing with this, the database and JPA part. As we move on to this series, everything that we are configuring here, we will discuss why we are doing this and what it means. Okay, so don't worry that in this video I have not explained everything in detail. I will do it, but when the time will come, okay, then we will be discussing in detail. So this part you have to do. Now we have included, as you can see, if you come here, we've included a Docker Compose dependency. So it has created a compose.yaml for us. So here also we need to put all these credentials. So from where these credentials will come, so it will come from here. So the DB name that you have selected here, copy this and paste this. Then let's close this. Then the username also copy here and paste here, and password also you need to do this same. So just make sure the DB, the password and the post user, all these three things matches with the configuration you have done here. Right now, the next thing is we are saying that the Postgres is running on the local port 5432. So we have to define that. So here you have to write 5432. So what it means is inside the Docker container, it will run on the port 5432, and to us also it will expose the service on 5432. So on 5432 on our system, on our actual PC, it will be exposed on port 5432. And inside the Docker container also, it will be exposed on the port 5432. So that's what it means. Okay, so for now, this is what we have to do. Now, one more thing I would recommend you to do is pg admin. Okay, this admin 4, actually pg admin 4, just download this thing also. So for Windows it is available, for Mac and for Linux maybe it is, I think apt it is there, for Ubuntu or for other system whichever you are using. So you can download this pg admin. What it will help us is, it is a kind of a tool which will be, it is a basically SQL visualizer tool. Okay, so we can run the SQL query directly inside it or see our tables. Okay, so download this also, right? So I hope this much is clear now, and our project is now set up with this. Now we need to actually create a recent API, so I'll help you creating that. So if you come to the API keys, I already have some APIs already, so I'll create another one for this project. So I will say YouTube project. Okay, and I will just say add. So just copy this API here, key here, and paste it here. Now don't copy paste my key, I will delete it after this video. Copy paste your own one. Okay, now this part is done. Now next what we have to do is, we have to run our Docker. And one more thing is, make sure your Docker is running. So let me show you that my Docker is running here. So I have my Docker running, I have my Postgres already, because I am using my Postgres for multiple projects, and I also have a pg admin as a Docker container. You can also do if you want. So that is there. The main thing is my Docker is running, so your Docker should be running in the background before you start the project. Now my Docker is running, so I will come to this main file and I will start this application to check that okay, it works. So it has started. So let me also check whether this works perfectly or not. If application starts without any errors, then it means that everything is fine, right? So yeah, container is, it is creating the container for us. It is loading everything. Okay, it has, okay, some error has come. Let me quickly check the error and get back to you. Okay, so the error, actually it is coming, I don't know why it happens only in IntelliJ most of the time, but the point is, there is some issue with the time zone. So what is the solution to this time zone issue is, I think it is mostly related to the India time zone basically. So here you have to include the time zone as Asia/Kolkata, and here when you run the application for the first time, then just click on these three dots, this edit, and in the modify options click on add VM options. Okay, and in the add VM options just copy paste this minus the user dot time zone equal to Asia/Kolkata. This is mostly for the people who are especially from India. If it is happening for other regions also, do the same solution. Put your time zones like this, because this is a issue which is basically facing. So if we run the application again, it will run perfectly. So ideally it should be able to process it, but I don't know why these issues have started to come. In my all projects I have been doing this only. So yeah, as you can see, all the containers are ready and database information is also coming. The database is also running and it is connected, and application is running on port 8080, right? If we check our Docker container, in the container, if we ask, so as you can see, YouTube backend is running here, right? We don't have to touch our containers here. It is just for showing you that containers are running. Don't touch here. Everything we will operate from Spring, from the IntelliJ IDEA. Okay, so let me close it. So if you have done till here, then congratulations, we have created a new project and we have successfully set up everything. Right now, in the next one, we will be starting with implementing our entities. Especially, our first priority will be to implement the authentication, registering a user, and login functionality. Okay, these two are the top priorities, which will be starting from the next video. So hopefully you have liked the content, and I will be pushing this whole thing to the Git, so you can copy paste all the dependencies and all these properties. Okay, so that's all for this video. Please do subscribe to the channel for more such amazing content that will be coming in this series, and a lot you will be learning here. Like the content, press the like button, and share it with more and more people on various social media platform also, so that more and more people get into such amazing series and learn the backend with Java and Spring Boot. So I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.